The wilderness calls. The fire crackled softly, sending embers spiraling into the night sky. The towering pines stood like silent sentinels around the clearing, their dark silhouettes stretching endlessly in all directions. The crisp mountain air carried the scent of damp earth and burning wood, a stark reminder of just how far they were from civilization. Jason leaned back against a log, stretching his legs toward the fire. Man, this place is something else. Told you, Nate said, grinning as he poked at the flames with his stick. No crowds, no noise, just us and the wild. Samantha pulled her jacket tighter around herself. Her eyes flicked toward the darkness beyond the firelight. It's a little too quiet, though. The three of them had been planning this trip for weeks. Jason had been itching for an escape from the city grind. Samantha had wanted a break before her med school applications kicked into high gear. And Nate had always been the outdoorsy one, the self-proclaimed adventurer of the group. He was the one who'd suggested this particular spot, boasting that it was untouched wilderness, no cell service, no people, just pure nature. It had sounded perfect. They had loaded up Jason's old Jeep with camping gear and enough snacks to last them the weekend, setting off early that morning. The drive had taken them 6 hours, 4 on paved roads and 2 on a barely there dirt trail that wound deep into the mountains. By the time they arrived, the sun was dipping below the treetops, bathing everything in gold. They had set up camp near a clearing with a small, still lake just a few yards away. Everything had felt peaceful until now. A sound broke the silence, a distant guttural howl, long, ragged, wrong. Jason sat up. What the hell was that? Nate furrowed his brows. Coyote? But there was hesitation in his voice. Samantha turned toward the darkness beyond the fire's glow, her pulse quickening. Something about that sound. It didn't feel right. Then another noise followed. Faint, unnatural. A voice. Help me. Jason's breath hitched. He shot a look at Samantha, because the voice, the one drifting through the trees barely above a whisper, was hers. Samantha stiffened. A cold weight settled in her chest. That, Jason swallowed, that sounded like you? Samantha didn't move. Her breathing had gone shallow, her fingers digging into her jacket. I didn't say anything. The fire crackled. The night stretched on, impossibly still. Then the voice came again. Help me. Identical, hollow, and closer. The night had just begun, and something was already watching them. The fire was the only thing standing between them and the dark. Jason's stomach twisted as he stared past the flickering flames toward the trees where the voice had come from. Samantha's voice. But Samantha hadn't spoken. No one moved. No one breathed. The wind stirred leaves, and for a moment, the world felt unnervingly still, like the forest itself was listening. Then Nate laughed. Too loud, too forced. All right, that's some creepy echo or something. Jason turned to him. Echo? You seriously think? Yeah, man, it's gotta be. Nate's hands fidgeted against his knee. Sound bounces weird out here, especially in valleys. Samantha wasn't convinced. Then why did it sound exactly like me? Silence. Jason rubbed his arms, trying to shake the growing chill in his bones. He was the logical one, the guy who needed an explanation for everything. But right now, logic wasn't giving him any answers. Maybe someone else is out here, he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Nate scoffed. Dude, we're 6 hours from civilization. No one's out here. A sharp crack echoed from the woods. All three of them whipped their heads toward the sound. Jason's heartbeat slammed against his ribs. He squinted into the trees, but the fire's glow didn't reach far enough to cut through the black. Samantha grabbed his arm. We're not alone. Another crack. Closer. Jason's breath came faster now. He wanted to say it was just an animal, a deer maybe, but something deep in his gut told him that wasn't true. Then something moved, a shadow, barely visible, shifting between the trees, and then, "Help me," Samantha's voice. Jason's hands clenched into fists. The voice was only a few yards away now. Too close. Too wrong. It didn't just sound like Samantha, it was her. Her exact pitch, her exact tone. But something was off. Like someone trying too hard to mimic a sound they didn't fully understand. Samantha was frozen in place, her eyes locked on the trees. Jason could see the panic rising behind them. "Get in the tent," she whispered. Nate hesitated. "What? We can't just..." "I said, get in the tent." Something clicked in Jason's brain, and suddenly his legs were moving. The three of them scrambled toward the tent, yanking the zipper down as fast as they could. As soon as they were inside, Jason fumbled for the flashlight. His hands were shaking. Then, from outside, heavy footsteps. Not animal. Human. Right outside the tent, and then another voice, Jason's voice. "Guys, let me in." The three of them froze. Jason felt the blood drain from his face. His mouth opened, but no words came out. The voice outside, it was him. Identical. Perfect. Like an echo that wasn't an echo at all. Nate's breathing turned ragged. Samantha clapped a hand over her mouth. The voice came again. Low, hollow. "Guys, let me in." The fire crackled outside. Something was standing just beyond the thin layer of fabric. Waiting. The nightmare had only begun. Jason's breath hitched. His own voice, his exact voice, was calling from outside the tent. "Guys, let me in." Samantha was trembling. Jason could hear her rapid, shallow breaths beside him. Nate had his knife out, but his hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold it steady. Jason forced himself to move. He clicked on the flashlight and aimed it at the tent's thin fabric, praying, begging that there was nothing standing outside. The beam illuminated a distorted shadow, tall, too tall. It just stood there, unmoving, as if it were listening, watching. Then, skirk, the sound of something dragging across the nylon of the tent. Samantha's hand clamped onto Jason's wrist, her fingers ice cold. "Oh my God," she mouthed. Jason swallowed hard, trying to keep his breathing steady. "Nate," he whispered, "turn off the fire." Nate's eyes snapped to him. "What?" Jason's voice was barely a breath. "It's the only thing keeping us visible. If it can't see us..." Tap. A single, deliberate tap against the tent fabric. Jason's stomach twisted. His mouth went dry. Then it spoke again. Jason. The way it said his name made his skin crawl, like it was testing the sound, rolling it around like an unfamiliar shape in its mouth. Then, "Nate?" Nate flinched. "Samantha." Samantha stifled a whimper, her nails digging into Jason's wrist. Jason's mind raced. It knows our names. It knows our voices. It's mimicking us. The realization sent a new kind of terror flooding through him. This wasn't just some animal wandering through their camp. It was something else, something that learned. The fire crackled outside. The shadow loomed closer. Then Jason made a mistake. His fingers twitched just slightly, and the flashlight wobbled in its grip. The beam flickered just for a second, but that was all it took. Scratch! The sound of nails, long, unnatural, dragging down the tent. Then a whisper, right against the fabric. "I see you." Samantha couldn't stop the gasp that escaped her lips. The thing outside heard it. And then everything went still. No fire crackling, no footsteps, just silence. Jason's pulse pounded in his ears. The flashlight shook in his grip. He didn't dare breathe. Then, finally, Nate moved. It was the smallest shift, just a tiny adjustment of his knee against the tent floor, and that's when all hell broke loose. The tent exploded with sound. Heavy, thundering footstep circled them. The entire tent shook as something rammed against it from the outside. The fabric buckled inward, the air filled with the sharp, gut-wrenching scent of rot. Jason's fight-or-flight instincts screamed. "We have to move," he rasped. Nate was already reaching for the tent zipper. "We run for the Jeep." Samantha shook her head violently. "It's out there. We can't." The thing outside let out a low, guttural chuckle. Jason's entire body turned to ice. It laughed, like it understood. Then the tent ripped open. A hand, too long, too pale, too wrong, shot inside, and Jason realized one thing too late. They weren't hunting anything. They were being hunted. The tent ripped open with a sickening shrip, the nylon fabric peeling like wet paper. Jason barely had time to react before a hand, if it could even be called that, lunged inside. It was wrong, too long, too thin, its fingers stretching impossibly far, curling unnaturally as they searched for something, someone to grab. Samantha screamed. Nate didn't hesitate. He slashed at the thing with his knife, the blade slicing cleanly across its fingers. The reaction was instant. A screech tore through the night, so inhuman it made Jason's skull rattle. The thing jerked its arm back, disappearing into the blackness beyond the torn tent flap. But the second it retreated, Jason knew it wasn't leaving. It was angry. "Go!" Jason shoved Samantha forward, grabbing the flashlight and bolting out of the ruined tent. The fire had burned lower, but its glow still cast eerie shadows across the trees. His heart pounded as his eyes darted around, scanning the darkness. Nothing. Then Samantha gasped. Jason turned just in time to see something move, a blur of pale skin and shifting limbs, slipping between the trees at an unnatural speed. It was circling them, trying to herd them. "The Jeep!" Nate shouted, already sprinting toward the trail. Jason grabbed Samantha's wrist and ran, his boots pounding against the dirt. Branches whipped against his arms. The freezing air burned his lungs. Behind them, footsteps, heavy, fast. And then, "Help me." Jason's legs nearly buckled mid-stride. It was his voice this time, calling out from the trees, desperate, pleading. "Guys, wait! Please!" Samantha choked on a sob. "It's copying us." Jason didn't look back. He couldn't. The Jeep was just ahead, parked on the edge of the clearing where they had left it. Nate was already fumbling with the keys, cursing as he yanked the door open. Jason and Samantha stumbled forward, practically throwing themselves into the back seat. "Go, go, go!" Jason screamed. Nate jammed the key into the ignition. The engine sputtered. Jason's stomach plummeted. "Oh, come on." Nate twisted the key again. The Jeep choked, struggled. Outside, the footsteps stopped. Jason's hands trembled as he slowly turned his head. It was there, standing just beyond the fire's dying glow. Its limbs were wrong, stretched too far. Its head cocked at an unnatural angle, studying them. Its face, or what should have been one, was shrouded in shadow. Then it took a step forward. Jason could finally see its mouth, grinning, too wide, with teeth that didn't belong to anything human. "Start the damn Jeep, Nate!" Samantha shrieked. Nate slammed his fist against the dashboard, twisting the key so hard it nearly snapped. The engine roared to life. The thing's grin vanished. It lunged. Nate floored it. The tires kicked up gravel as they tore out of the clearing, the headlights slicing through the darkness. Jason barely had time to process what just happened. His pulse pounded in his ears. His breaths came fast and ragged. Then, a sound. Something running, keeping pace with them. Jason turned and saw it. In the side mirror, its limbs contorted unnaturally as it galloped alongside the Jeep, its movements twitchy, disjointed. Then, it sped up. It was gaining on them. Jason's blood ran cold. This isn't real," Samantha whispered, pressing herself against the seat. Jason wasn't so sure anymore, because no matter how fast they went, it was still coming, and it wasn't going to stop, not until it caught them. The Jeep's tires kicked up dirt and gravel as Nate floored the gas pedal, the headlights slicing through the endless black. Jason's knuckles were white as he gripped the seat, his breath coming in sharp gasps. But it was still out there, running, keeping pace. Jason glanced at the side mirror again. His stomach lurched. It wasn't running like a person. It moved in sharp, erratic bursts, limbs bending in ways they shouldn't. Its arms were too long, its legs too thin, its body twitching and adjusting as if it hadn't quite figured out how to be human, and its face, Jason's stomach twisted. It didn't have one. Not really. Its features shifted in the flickering light like something unfinished, trying to become something else, something familiar. And then its mouth moved. It spoke. Jason, his own voice, calling out from the trees. Samantha, her voice too, layered over his. Jason's throat closed up. It wasn't just mimicking them anymore. It was blending their voices together, distorting them. The Jeep hit a bump, and Jason's head slammed into the window. "Shit, Nate, drive faster!" "I'm trying!" Nate shouted. Branches lashed against the sides of the Jeep as they tore through the narrow dirt road, the trees blurring past. The thing was still there, flickering in and out of the shadows, its body jerking unnaturally. Jason forced himself to look ahead. The road twisted sharply, leading toward the main trail, the only way out of the forest. Then Samantha's voice shattered the air. "Stop!" Nate barely had time to react before Jason saw it too. Someone was standing in the middle of the road. A girl. She was barefoot, her clothes torn and dirty, her hair hanging over her face. Jason's stomach clenched. "Patil, no, that's not." The girl lifted her head. Samantha let out a strangled cry, because the girl's face was Samantha's. Her exact face, expressionless, eyes hollow, and then it smiled. Nate yanked the wheel to the side. The Jeep screeched. He is skidding wildly. The tires hit something loose. Then the world flipped. Jason's body slammed against the roof as the Jeep rolled. Glass shattered, metal crunched, a scream ripped from Samantha's throat. Then silence. For a moment, Jason couldn't move. His brain was fogged, his body aching from the impact. He felt something warm trickling down his forehead. Then Samantha's voice, weak. "Jason." He forced himself upright, blinking through the haze. The Jeep was on its side. The windshield was cracked, the hood smoking. The trees loomed around them, eerily silent. Nate groaned somewhere beside him. "Everyone, okay?" Jason coughed. "Not really." Samantha unbuckled herself, wincing. "We need to—" A sound. Jason stiffened. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming toward them. A shadow moved outside the broken windshield. Jason's breath caught in his throat. The girl was standing there, watching them, still wearing Samantha's face. And then she laughed. Not Samantha's laugh, not really. It was wrong, stretched out, hollow. Like something that had learned how to mimic laughter but didn't understand what it meant. Jason's skin crawled. His instincts screamed at him to run. But they were trapped. Then the thing took a step closer and whispered, "You can't leave." Double asterisk. Jason's entire body locked up. "You can't leave." The thing wearing Samantha's face grinned, her lips curling too wide, too unnatural. The Jeep's broken windshield framed her like a twisted portrait, her hollow eyes locked onto Jason's. Samantha made a choked sound beside him. "No, no, no." She scrambled to push the broken door open, but it was jammed against the dirt. Nate groaned, clutching his arm. "We need to move. Now." Jason's mind was screaming, his instincts telling him to run, to get away. But they were trapped, and the thing outside knew it. The girl tilted her head. Then she changed. Her body twitched violently, her skin rippling as if something beneath it was shifting. Rearranging, Jason's stomach lurched. Her arms stretched, her fingers elongated into thin claw-like shapes. Her face, her face, blurred, melting into something inhuman. Then, in his own voice, she whispered, "Jason, let me in." Something inside him snapped. Jason kicked at the windshield with everything he had. The glass splintered but didn't break. The thing outside laughed. A warbled, stuttering sound, like a radio signal breaking apart. Then it moved. It lunged forward, slamming both hands against the windshield. The glass cracked. Samantha screamed. Jason kicked again, hard. The windshield finally burst outward, sending shards flying. He barely had time to react before Samantha shoved past him, clawing her way out of the wreckage. Jason tumbled after her, his pulse hammering. Then he heard Nate curse behind him. Jason turned just in time to see the thing reach inside the Jeep. Grabbing Nate's ankle, Nate let out a guttural scream as the thing yanked, dragging him halfway through the broken windshield. "No!" Jason surged forward, grabbing Nate's arms, pulling with everything he had. The thing hissed, its grip tightening. Jason saw its face up close, its skin crawling with movement, trying to become something else. Then Samantha grabbed a piece of shattered glass from the ground and stabbed it into the thing's arm. A screech tore through the night. The thing recoiled, releasing Nate. Jason yanked him free, and they all stumbled backward. But the thing wasn't done. It didn't run. It didn't scream in pain. It laughed. Then, in a voice that was almost Samantha's, it whispered, "You're mine now." Then it vanished. Not into the woods, not into the dark. It just melted into the shadows, like it had never been there at all. Jason's chest heaved. His mind was spinning. Samantha was shaking. "It's gone?" Nate coughed. "No." He wiped blood from his lip, his hand still trembling. "It's still here." Jason swallowed hard. Nate was right. They couldn't see it, but it was still watching, and it wasn't going to let them go. Jason's breath came in short, ragged gasps. The thing was gone. But not really. The air was too still, the woods too silent. His skin crawled with a gut-wrenching certainty that they were being watched. Nate groaned, clutching its ankle where the thing had grabbed him. Jason crouched beside him. "Can you stand?" Nate shook his head. It burns." His voice was tight with pain. Jason's stomach twisted. The spot where the thing had touched Nate's skin was red and raw, like frostbite spreading in unnatural patterns. Dark veins pulsed under his skin, creeping up his leg. Samantha covered her mouth. "Oh my God!" Jason fought back panic. "We need to get help." "Now?" Nate gritted his teeth. "You think an ambulance is going to fix this?" He exhaled sharply, sweat beading on his forehead. "That thing, it did something to me." Jason's mind raced. Their Jeep was wrecked, the radio dead. The only way out was on foot. But something told him. The thing wouldn't let them leave. Samantha looked around, eyes wide with terror. "Where is it?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. Jason didn't answer. He didn't know. Then the trees creaked. Jason's breath hitched. A shadow shifted in the distance. Then, in a voice that was almost his own, the thing whispered, "Jason, don't leave me." Jason clenched his fists. "Screw this!" He looped Nate's arm around his shoulder and hauled him up. "We're moving, now." Samantha took one last shaky glance at the woods before nodding. They stumbled forward, half dragging Nate, pushing through the dense trees. The road was too far. The campsite was wrecked. Their only chance was to keep going, find a way out. But with every step, Jason's gut twisted tighter. Something was wrong. The woods weren't ending. The deeper they walked, the more the trees seemed to repeat, stretching endlessly in every direction. Jason's pulse pounded. He swallowed. "We should have reached the road by now." Nate shuddered in his grip. "It's not letting us leave." Samantha let out a strangled breath. No, that's..." She stopped. Jason turned to her, and his stomach dropped. There, just ahead, was their tent. The ruined, slashed open tent. Back in the clearing they had just escaped from. Jason felt like ice water had been dumped over his body. "That's not possible." Nate let out a shaky breath. "We've been walking in circles." Samantha's eyes darted to the trees. "It's messing with us." Jason forced himself to breathe. His hands were shaking. Think. Then a sound. Jason's blood ran cold. It was the sound of laughter. Not just any laughter. Their own. Jason, Samantha, Nate. Laughing. Echoing from the trees. Distorted. Warped. Then Jason saw it. In the darkness between the trees, 3 shapes, standing, watching. Jason's breath locked in his throat. They were looking at themselves. 3 figures, twisted, shifting, flickering in and out of the dark. Copies. Jason's stomach churned. His own face stared back at him, hollow, empty. Then the copies smiled. The Jason copy took a step forward, head twitching, mouth stretching, and in Jason's own voice it whispered, "You don't belong here anymore." Jason's pulse spiked. Nate let out a breathless rasp. "We're screwed." Jason gritted his teeth. No, they weren't. But if they didn't move, now they would be. Jason's lungs burned as he fought to breathe. The 3 figures stood in front of them, copies of themselves. Their features flickered like a bad signal, shifting between almost human and something far worse. Jason's double took another step forward, its face stretching into an unnatural grin. "Why are you running, Jason?" Its voice was his, but it wasn't right. It sounded too hollow, too deliberate, like something trying to learn how to speak. Samantha's copy cocked its head, moving in stiff, unnatural motions. "Stay. Play with us." Jason's pulse pounded. His instinct screamed, "Run!" But where? They had just walked in circles. They weren't leaving. They were being led. Nate wheezed beside him, barely staying on his feet. The dark veins on his leg were spreading, crawling higher, twisting beneath his skin. Jason clenched his jaw. They couldn't just stand there. He grabbed the nearest rock and hurled it at his double. It hit with a wet smack, but instead of recoiling, the copy laughed. A hideous, glitching noise like someone skipping through radio channels. Jason's stomach dropped. The thing wasn't hurt. It was mocking him. Then, Nate collapsed. Jason turned just in time to catch him. "Nate!" Nate's eyes were wrong. Dark veins spiderwebbed across his face, and his pupils were dilating unevenly. His fingers twitched. Samantha gasped, "Oh my God!" Then, Nate moved. Not the real Nate. His copy. Jason barely had time to react before copy Nate sprinted toward them. Not ran, sprinted. Too fast, too jerky. Jason pulled Nate up and dragged him backward. "Move!" Samantha grabbed a broken tree branch and swung hard. It snapped against copy Nate's chest, but the thing didn't even flinch. Instead, it laughed. Then, in a voice that was exactly like Nate's, it whispered, "Let me in." Jason's stomach twisted, but no, it wasn't just copying them. It was trying to become them. Samantha yanked Jason's arm. "Go!" They ran. Jason half-carried Nate, heart hammering, crashing through the trees. Branches whipped against his arms. The forest blurred around him. The laughter followed them. But it was getting closer. Jason's mind raced. "We need a way out. We need a..." Then he saw something. A flicker of movement between the trees. Not the copies. Something else. Someone. A shadow. Watching them. Then a voice. Rough. Deep. Not like the copies. "Get down!" Jason didn't think. He yanked Samantha and Nate down just as a shotgun blast tore through the air. The gunshot ripped into the darkness. The distorted laughter stopped. For the first time since this nightmare started, the copies screamed. Jason's breath hitched. The copies, his copy, Samantha's, Nate's, jerked backward, their bodies glitching, their shapes distorting wildly. Then they vanished, like shadows swallowed by the dark. Silence fell. Jason's pulse pounded. His ears rang from the gunshot. He turned, eyes darting toward the source. A man, tall, broad-shouldered, holding a shotgun loaded with salt rounds. His face was lined with age, his beard scruffy, his eyes sharp, and he didn't look surprised at all. He stepped forward, chambering another round. "Y'all are in a hell of a lot of trouble." Jason's breath came in ragged gasps. Who the hell are you?" The man's expression was grim. "The only guy who knows how to kill what's hunting you." Jason swallowed hard. "And what is they hunting us?" The man adjusted his grip on the shotgun. His voice was dark, heavy, with meaning. "Skinwalkers." Jason's heart was still hammering in his chest. The man stood over them, gripping his shotgun like he'd done this 1,000 times before. His sharp eyes flicked between Jason, Samantha, and Nate, who was barely conscious. "Get up," the man ordered. "We need to move, now." Jason swallowed. His body screamed for rest, but one look at the trees, dark, shifting, watching, told him that stopping wasn't an option. Samantha hesitated. Who are you?" The man didn't break stride as he turned, gesturing for them to follow. "Name's Carter, and if you want to live through the night, I suggest you do exactly what I say." Jason didn't need convincing. He hooked Nate's arm over his shoulder and stumbled forward. Samantha was right beside them, casting wary glances at the woods. Carter led them through the trees with purpose, moving fast despite his age. Jason could see a large hunting knife strapped to his belt, extra shotgun shells tucked into loops on his vest. This guy was prepared. Jason tightened his grip on Nate. "What the hell were those things?" Carter's jaw tightened. "You already know." Jason's skin crawled. The word skinwalker felt too unreal, like something out of a horror story. But after everything they'd seen, the mimicking, the copies, he couldn't deny it. Carter spoke without looking back. "You're lucky I was tracking this one. Otherwise, you'd all be dead, or worse." Samantha shivered. "Worse?" Carter's expression darkened. "Skinwalkers don't just kill, they take, they replace." Jason's stomach churned. "Replace?" Carter nodded. "They steal faces, voices, identities, and if you let them inside," his voice dropped, "they take your soul." Silence fell. Jason glanced at Nate's leg, where the dark veins were spreading up his skin. His breaths were shallow, his face pale. Jason's throat tightened. "Is Nate?" Carter's gaze flicked toward him, then to Nate's wound. His lips pressed into a thin line. "We'll see." Jason's gut twisted. Carter suddenly stopped. He raised a fist. A silent signal. Jason froze. Samantha held her breath. Carter's eyes scanned the trees. His body went rigid. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "It knows we're here." Jason's blood ran cold. Samantha whispered, "I don't see anything." Carter's grip tightened on his shotgun. That's the problem. Then, the air shifted. A slow, wet, clicking sound echoed through the trees. Jason's stomach dropped. The laughter started again, soft, whispering. It came from every direction. Jason's breath hitched. His pulse pounded against his ribs. Carter exhaled sharply. "When I say run," the sound stopped. Jason barely had a second to process it before a blur of motion exploded from the trees. Something huge slammed into Carter, knocking him off his feet. The real skinwalker. Jason saw it just for a second. A twisted, warped shape, moving too fast, shifting between forms. Human, beast, something else. Carter hit the ground hard, his shotgun flying from his grip. Jason reacted on instinct. He grabbed the fallen gun, turned, and fired. The blast lit up the trees. The skinwalker reeled back, a guttural shriek ripping through the night. But it wasn't dead. Jason's heart nearly stopped. Carter scrambled to his feet. That just pissed it off. Run! Jason didn't hesitate. He grabbed Nate, pulled Samantha, and they bolted behind them. The skinwalker let out a sound that wasn't laughter anymore. It was a scream, and it was coming after them. Jason's legs burned as he sprinted through the trees, his breath coming in sharp gasps. The shotgun felt heavy in his grip, but he didn't dare let go. Behind them, the scream tore through the night. Not human, not animal, something in between. Branches snapped, leaves rustled, the sound of pounding footsteps crashed through the forest, getting closer. The skinwalker was chasing them. Jason tightened his grip on Nate, half carrying him as they ran. The dark veins on Nate's leg were spreading fast, twisting like black roots under his skin. "Nate, stay with me, man," Jason gasped. Nate let out a weak, pained breath. He was barely conscious. Samantha ran beside them, her face pale with terror. "Where do we go? We can't just—" Boom! Another shotgun blast. Jason flinched as Carter fired behind them, the muzzle flash lighting up the trees. The skinwalker shrieked, but it didn't stop. Carter cursed. "Damn thing's fast." He grabbed Jason's arm, his voice sharp. "We need high ground. Now!" Jason's pulse pounded. "Where?" Carter's gaze flicked around, then locked onto something. The ridge. Jason followed his stare and saw it. A rocky incline just ahead, leading up to a narrow plateau. If they could get there, maybe they could hold their ground. Or at least have a fighting chance. Jason gritted his teeth. "Go!" They ran. The ridge was steep, covered in loose dirt and jagged rocks. Jason scrambled upward, pulling Nate with him. His arms ached, his lungs burned. But he didn't stop. Carter and Samantha were right behind him. Then a low growl rumbled through the air. Jason's breath hitched. He turned and saw it. The skinwalker. No more flickering copies, no more tricks. It stood at the base of the ridge, fully revealed. Jason's blood ran cold. It was tall, too tall. Its limbs were wrong, stretched and twisted, shifting between human and animal. Its skin was dark and leathery, its face shifting, flickering between a monstrous snarl and something almost familiar. Jason's own face, distorted, smiling, mocking. Jason's stomach twisted. The skinwalker moved. It leaped, clawed hands grasping for Jason's legs. Boom! Carter fired again. Salt pellets tore into the creature's shoulder, making it reel back with a deafening shriek. Jason yanked Nate up the ridge. Samantha grabbed his other arm, pulling with everything she had. They made it. Jason collapsed onto the rocky plateau, gasping for air. Carter stood at the edge, shotgun raised, eyes locked on the writhing creature below. For the first time, the skinwalker hesitated. It didn't move forward. It just watched. Jason's pulse pounded. Why isn't it coming up? Carter exhaled sharply. It's testing us. His grip on the shotgun tightened. It knows we're cornered. Jason's stomach knotted. The skinwalker wasn't just some wild beast. It was smart, and it wasn't done playing. Samantha swallowed hard. So, what do we do now? Carter chambered another round. His voice was grim. Now, his eyes flicked to Jason. We kill it before it kills us. The air was thick with tension. Jason tightened his grip on the shotgun, his hands slick with sweat. The skinwalker stood at the base of the ridge, its distorted body shifting in the dim moonlight. It wasn't attacking. Not yet. Instead, it just watched, studying them, testing them. Jason's gut twisted. It was toying with them. Carter exhaled, slow and measured. It's waiting for us to make a mistake. Jason swallowed hard. What do we do? Carter didn't take his eyes off the creature. We hold our ground. Samantha's voice was tight. For how long? The skinwalker moved, not forward, not back. It started circling, pacing along the bottom of the ridge, never breaking eye contact. Jason's stomach churned. Then the skinwalker smiled. Jason's breath hitched. His own face, twisted and wrong, grinned up at him. Then, in a perfect copy of Jason's voice, it whispered, "You can't run forever." Jason's hands shook. The skinwalker let out a low, wet chuckle, then took a slow step back into the shadows and vanished. Silence. Jason's pulse pounded. He squinted into the darkness, scanning the trees below. Nothing. No movement. No sound. It was gone. Samantha's voice was barely above a whisper. Where did it go? Carter's expression hardened. It's not leaving. He chambered another round. It's waiting for us to come down. Jason's chest tightened. They were trapped. Nate let out a weak groan. Jason knelt beside him. His skin was ashen, the dark veins spreading further. Jason's stomach twisted. He's getting worse. Carter crouched next to him, pulling a flask from his vest. He unscrewed the cap, revealing a thick, dark liquid inside. Jason frowned. What is that? Carter didn't answer. He just pressed the flask to Nate's lips. The second the liquid touched his tongue, Nate convulsed. Jason flinched. What the hell? Carter grabbed Nate's jaw, forcing him to swallow. For a second, nothing. Then, Nate's entire body seized. His back arched, his mouth opening in a silent scream. Then suddenly, the black veins began to fade. Jason's eyes widened. It's working? Carter nodded grimly. Witch's brew burns the infection out, but it won't hold forever. Jason clenched his jaw. Then we need to get out of here. Carter's gaze flicked back to the trees below. His expression darkened. Agreed. He turned to Jason, his voice low. But first, we kill that son of a bitch. Jason tightened his grip on the shotgun. This wasn't just a hunt anymore. This was war. The night was unnervingly quiet. The forest stretched below them in an eerie stillness, but Jason knew the skinwalker was still there, watching, waiting. Carter reloaded his shotgun with deliberate movements, his jaw tight. It won't stay hidden forever. It's waiting for us to come down. Jason exhaled. So how do we kill it? Carter gave him a grim look. Skinwalkers aren't like regular monsters. Bullets hurt them, but they don't die easy. He gestured to the shotgun shells. Salt burns them, slows them down, but to kill it? His expression darkened. You need fire. Samantha shifted uneasily. Fire, Carter nodded. Burn its real body, reduce it to ash. That's the only way to stop it for good. Jason's stomach twisted. And where's the real body? Carter sighed. That's the trick. The one hunting you, it's just a shell, a disguise. He pointed to the forest. The real body's hidden somewhere nearby, probably buried or locked up. That's where the damn thing's soul is anchored. Jason clenched his jaw. So we have to find it before it kills us? Carter gave a short nod. Pretty much. Samantha crossed her arms. Great. And how do we find it? Carter's gaze hardened. We make it show us. Jason blinked. How? Carter's expression was cold. We use bait. A tense silence settled between them. Jason didn't like where this was going. Bait? Carter's eyes flicked toward Nate, who lay unconscious on the ground, his breathing shallow. Jason's stomach dropped. No way, he said instantly. You're not using him as bait. Carter didn't flinch. We don't have a choice. The thing already marked him. He pointed to Nate's leg, where the black veins still pulsed beneath his skin. That thing sees him as unfinished business. If we leave him out in the open, it'll come. Jason's hands curled into fists. We're not leaving him defenseless. Carter gave him a look. You think I'm just going to let it take him? We set a trap. We draw it out, and when it comes, we burn the bastard. Jason's pulse pounded. It was a risk, a huge one. But what other choice did they have? Samantha hesitated. And if it doesn't take the bait? Carter chambered a round into his shotgun. Then we're all dead anyway. Jason swallowed hard. The plan was set. They were going to end this, one way or another. The plan was simple. Use Nate as bait. Lure the skinwalker out. Kill it. Simple, but not safe. Jason's gut twisted as he helped Carter lay Nate against a fallen log in the middle of the clearing. His friend barely stirred, his breathing shallow, the black veins still pulsing under his skin. He looked worse. Jason clenched his fists. We have to end this. Carter crouched beside him, pouring a thick circle of salt around Nate. This won't hold forever, but it'll slow the thing down. If it tries to cross, it'll feel it. Jason nodded, gripping the shotgun. Samantha stood a few feet away, holding a makeshift torch. A thick branch wrapped in torn fabric, soaked in lighter fluid. Her hands were shaking. Jason reached out, squeezing her shoulder. We've got this. Samantha swallowed hard. Do we? Jason didn't answer. Carter rose to his feet, eyes scanning the tree line. It's watching. Jason's pulse pounded. He could feel it too, the weight of something unseen lurking just beyond the trees. Waiting. The wind stirred, carrying an awful rotting stench. Samantha gagged. Oh God, what is that? Carter's jaw tightened. Death. Then, a whisper. Soft. Hollow. Jason. Jason stiffened. It was his own voice. The skinwalker was close. Too close. Then, Nate groaned. His body twitched violently. Jason turned in time to see his friend's eyes snap open. Pure black. Jason's breath caught in his throat. Nate? Nate smiled. Too wide. Too unnatural. Then, in a voice that was almost his own, he whispered, It's already here. Jason stumbled back. Too late. The skinwalker hadn't been waiting in the trees. It had already taken Nate. Then Nate moved. His body jerked unnaturally, his limbs bending at wrong angles. The salt circle shattered, and Jason realized they had just let the monster in. Jason's breath caught in his throat. Nate's body twitched unnaturally, his head cocked to the side, his mouth stretching into a grin that wasn't his. The skinwalker had already taken him. They had let it in. Samantha gasped. "Oh my God." Then Nate moved. Too fast, too wrong. His body convulsed, jerking to his feet in a single unnatural motion. Jason barely had time to react before Nate lunged. He tackled Carter first, knocking the shotgun from his hands. Carter hit the ground with a grunt. "Damn it!" Nate's hands wrapped around Carter's throat, his grip inhumanly strong. His eyes pitch black. Jason's stomach twisted. That wasn't Nate anymore. Samantha moved first. She raised the torch and swung. The fire whooshed through the air, slamming into Nate's shoulder. The reaction was instant. Nate, or the thing wearing him, let out a hideous shriek. Not human, not even close. He stumbled back, his skin blistering where the flames had touched. Carter rolled away, coughing. Jason grabbed the shotgun and aimed it square at Nate's chest. But he hesitated. His hands trembled. It was still Nate's body, his best friend, his brother. Could he really pull the trigger? Nate's lips twisted into a grotesque smirk. Then, in his own voice, he whispered, "You wouldn't shoot your best friend, would you, Jason?" Jason's stomach dropped. The damn thing was inside his head. Samantha didn't hesitate. She swung the torch again. Nate screeched, staggering away. Carter scrambled to his feet, grabbing his knife. "We need to get that thing out of him." Jason forced himself to focus. "How?" Carter's jaw clenched. "We burn it out." Jason's pulse pounded. Nate wouldn't survive that. Then Nate stopped moving. His body jerked, his limbs twitching violently. Then, in a voice that was half Nate's, half something else, he rasped, "Help me." Jason froze. Was that really him? Samantha's grip on the torch faltered. "Is he?" Then Nate lunged, and everything fell apart. Nate lunged. Jason barely had time to react before his best friend's body slammed into him. They hit the ground hard, Jason's head snapping back against the dirt. Nate's hands wrapped around his throat, tight, too tight. Jason gasped, struggling, but the grip was inhuman. Samantha screamed. Carter cursed. Jason couldn't breathe. His vision blurred. The thing inside Nate was trying to kill him, and Jason still couldn't pull the trigger. Damn it, Nate was still in there, wasn't he? Carter didn't hesitate. He grabbed his knife, a long, jagged-edged blade, and slashed. The steel sliced into Nate's arm. Black blood oozed from the wound, not red, black. Nate shrieked, high-pitched and distorted. Not his voice, not human. Jason gasped for air as Nate recoiled, his body convulsing violently. His limbs twitched, his face twisting like something was fighting to stay inside him. Samantha ran forward, torch raised. Carter grabbed Jason and hauled him back. Now or never, kid. Jason knew what he meant. If they didn't do it now, they would lose Nate forever. His gut twisted. God forgive me. Samantha swung. The torch slammed us into Nate's chest. Fire roared to life. Nate screamed. Or the thing inside him did. Jason clenched his jaw, forcing himself to watch. The black veins pulsed violently, then began to fade. Smoke poured from his mouth, his nose, his eyes. The thing inside him was burning. Then a blood-curdling shriek ripped through the night. The skinwalker, its true form, was being forced out. Jason's heart hammered. It was working. But Nate's body was still burning, still screaming. Then the black smoke exploded outward. The skinwalker was out, and it was furious. The black smoke ripped out of Nate's body, spiraling into the night air like a living shadow. The skinwalker was out, and it was furious. Nate's body collapsed. Jason barely caught him before he hit the ground. His friend was limp, his skin clammy, but he was breathing. Jason's chest tightened. He was alive. But they had bigger problems. The smoke twisted and churned, contorting into something almost human, almost beast, but not quite either. It had no true form, only shifting, unfinished faces, and one of them was Jason's. Samantha's breath hitched. It's still here. Carter didn't hesitate. He raised his shotgun. Boom! The shot ripped through the smoke. But the thing didn't die. It screamed. The sound rattled Jason's skull, making his vision blur. His knees almost buckled. It wasn't just noise. It was inside his head. The skinwalker moved. Fast. Too fast. 1 second, it was a writhing mass of shadow. The next, it was solid, tall, twisted, grinning, and wearing Jason's face. Perfectly, mocking. Jason's blood ran cold. It was staring right at him. "You can't win." The words slithered out in Jason's own voice. His hands shook. Samantha's grip on the torch tightened. Carter didn't lower his gun. "That's what they all say," he muttered. Then the skinwalker lunged, straight for Jason. Carter fired. Jason didn't think. He grabbed the torch from Samantha and swung it with everything he had. Flames met flesh. And this time, the thing burned. The screeches that followed was like nothing Jason had ever heard. Pure agony, pure rage. The fire clung to it, spreading, eating away at its stolen faces. Jason's pulse pounded. This was it. The skinwalker staggered, convulsed, then turned to run. But Jason wasn't letting it escape. He threw the torch. It hit dead center. The flames erupted. The thing collapsed. Jason, Samantha, and Carter watched as the skinwalker burned. It thrashed, twisted, and then it stopped. Silence. The fire crackled. The skinwalker was gone. Jason's legs gave out. He sank to his knees, his breath ragged. It was over, or at least he thought it was, until Carter spoke, his voice low, grim. That wasn't its real body. Jason's blood ran cold. The skinwalker wasn't dead. Not yet. Jason's breath came in ragged gasps. The skinwalker's burning form twisted, convulsed, then disintegrated into ash. But Carter's words hit like a gut punch. That wasn't its real body. Jason's stomach twisted. What? Carter's expression was grim. Its soul is still anchored somewhere. If we don't find its real body, it'll just come back. Jason clenched his fists. They weren't done. Samantha wiped sweat from her brow. So where is it? Carter's jaw tightened. Close. He pointed at the scorched earth where the skinwalker had burned. The ground looked wrong, dark, uneven, like something was buried there. Jason swallowed hard. He already knew what Carter was going to say. We dig. Samantha shuddered. I hate this. Jason grabbed a fallen branch and started scraping at the dirt. Carter did the same, his knife hacking away at the roots. The deeper they went, the stronger the stench became. Thick, rotten, suffocating. Jason gagged. Jesus, what is that? Carter didn't answer, because he had just hit something. A body. Jason's blood turned to ice. Samantha covered her mouth. It was old, mummified, but still human. Its flesh clung to bone in dry, withered strips. Its empty eye sockets stared upward as if frozen in a silent scream. But the worst part, it was wrapped in animal hides. Jason felt a wave of nausea. This was the skinwalker's true form. This was what they had to burn. Carter wasted no time. He poured lighter fluid over the corpse and pulled out a match. Once we do this, it's over? Jason swallowed hard. No turning back now. Carter struck the match, dropped it. Fire roared to life. The flames devoured the body instantly. And then, a scream erupted from the forest, ear-splitting, inhuman. The trees shook violently as if the whole world was coming apart. The sound ripped through Jason's skull, making him stagger. Then, silence. Jason's breath came in sharp gasps. It was gone. The skinwalker's soul was finally destroyed. Samantha let out a shaky breath. Is it really over? Carter exhaled. Yeah. He wiped sweat from his brow. It's over. Jason looked at the burning corpse, the last traces of fire flickering in the night. He wanted to believe Carter. He really did. But deep down, something still felt wrong. The fire crackled, consuming the skinwalker's true body, its charred remains curling into ash. Jason forced himself to breathe, his chest tight. It was over. It had to be. Carter wiped sweat from his brow. That's it. It's gone. Samantha exhaled, gripping her arms. Then why doesn't it feel like it? Jason didn't answer. Because she was right. The air was too still. Too heavy. Jason's gut twisted. Something was wrong. Nate groaned beside him, shifting slightly. His skin looked better. The black veins had faded, leaving only faint marks. Jason squeezed his shoulder. You with us, man? Nate's eyes fluttered open, but something in them looked off. Carter crouched beside him. How do you feel? Nate swallowed. His voice was hoarse. Cold. Jason frowned. You'll be okay. He stopped. Something felt different. Off balance. Jason glanced around, suddenly uneasy. Then, a noise. Soft, subtle, wrong. Jason stiffened. Samantha whispered, Did you hear that? Carter's jaw tightened. Yeah. Jason turned toward the trees. The shadows seemed deeper, as if the darkness itself was alive. His breath hitched. No. His pulse pounded. No, no, no. Because in the distance, just beyond the fire's glow, something moved. Jason's stomach dropped. The firelight flickered, and for a split second, he saw it. A figure standing at the edge of the trees, watching. Jason's blood ran cold. It looked just like him. Then it smiled. Jason's breath hitched. The figure at the edge of the trees, it was him. Same height, same face, same empty stare. And it was smiling. Samantha's grip tightened on his arm. "Jason, what the hell is that?" Jason couldn't speak. He couldn't move. His mind was screaming, "We burned it. We killed it. This isn't possible." Carter cursed under his breath, gripping his shotgun. Damn it, I knew it felt too easy. Jason forced himself to swallow. We burned its body. We ended it. The thing in the trees tilted its head. Then, in Jason's voice, it whispered, "No, you didn't." Jason's stomach dropped. The skinwalker hadn't died. It had tricked him. Samantha took a shaky step back. Then, what did we burn? Carter's jaw tightened. A decoy. Jason's hands clenched into fists. They had been played. The thing moved. Slowly, it stepped out of the trees. The firelight flickered against its too perfect face, its stretched, unnatural grin. Jason's gut twisted. It was wearing him. Nate stirred beside them, groaning. Jason barely glanced at him. His focus was locked on the thing pretending to be him. Then the fire crackled. The skinwalker stopped. It didn't come closer. Jason's pulse pounded. It was afraid of the fire. Carter caught on. He kicked a burning branch toward it. The thing flinched. Jason's breath came fast. They still had a chance. Carter's voice was low, controlled. "We finished this, for real this time." Jason gritted his teeth. No more tricks, no more running. This time, they were going to kill it. Jason's heartbeat pounded in his ears. The skinwalker stood at the edge of the firelight, still wearing his face, still smiling, but it didn't move. It was afraid. Afraid of the fire. Samantha tightened her grip on the torch. Carter chambered around in his shotgun. "No more running," he muttered. "We end it now." Jason clenched his fists. They had fallen for its tricks once. Not again. The skinwalker's grin widened. Then in Jason's voice it whispered, "You'll never be sure if it's really gone." Jason's stomach twisted. Samantha shuddered. "Shut up!" Carter didn't hesitate. Boom. The shotgun blast ripped through the thing's chest. But it didn't fall. Instead, it laughed. A wet, broken, rattling sound. Then it shifted. Its body convulsed, its features melting and reforming, flickering between Jason, Nate, Samantha, Carter, stealing their faces. Jason grabbed a burning branch and charged. No more fear, no more hesitation. He swung. Fire met flesh. The skinwalker shrieked. The sound was unbearable. The fire spread, clinging to its stolen skin like it belonged there. Jason didn't stop. He couldn't. Carter threw down more lighter fluid. Samantha kicked another burning log at it. The flames roared to life. The skinwalker collapsed, writhing, its false faces distorting, screaming in every stolen voice. Jason could barely breathe through the smoke. The thing convulsed, then went still. Silence. The fire burned until there was nothing left. No body, no traces, just ash. Jason swallowed hard. His hands shook. Was it over? Samantha clutched his arm. Did we? Carter exhaled, his eyes scanning the charred ground. Then, finally, he nodded. Yeah, it's dead. The words didn't bring relief. Not really. The weight in Jason's chest remained. Because the skinwalker had been right about one thing. He would never be sure if it was really gone. The fire had burned out, leaving only ash and silence. Jason stood over the blackened ground, his breath still unsteady. It was over, or at least it was supposed to be. His hands trembled as he wiped sweat from his face. Why didn't it feel like a victory? Samantha sat on a nearby rock, knees pulled to her chest, staring blankly at the remains. She hadn't spoken since the fire died. Carter finished reloading his shotgun before slinging it over his shoulder. We need to move. His voice was rough, exhausted, like he had done this before. Jason swallowed hard. Where? Carter adjusted his bag. Away from here. Jason hesitated. What if it's not really gone? Carter exhaled sharply. Then you pray it is. Jason clenched his jaw. That wasn't good enough. Nate groaned, shifting on the ground. His face was pale, but the black veins were gone. Jason crouched beside him. Nate, you good? Nate blinked at him, his voice weak. I don't feel like myself. Jason's stomach twisted. He didn't know what to say to that. Because the truth was, none of them did. Samantha finally spoke. What if it wasn't the only one? Jason and Nate froze. The thought made Jason's skin crawl. Carter didn't react. He just gave them a look, grim and knowing. Jason's pulse pounded. What if this wasn't the end? Carter turned toward the darkened woods. If there's more, you'll know soon enough. Then, without another word, he started walking. Jason exchanged a glance with Samantha and Nate. They had survived. But the real question was, for how long? Jason took one last look at the burned ground. Something still didn't feel right. Then he turned and followed Carter into the dark. Because the nightmare wasn't over. Not yet. Jason walked in silence, his boots crunching against the dirt. The forest felt different now. Still, too still, like something was waiting. Carter led the way, his shotgun slung across his back. Samantha stayed close, gripping her arms. Nate limped beside Jason, his breathing uneven. They were alive, but something wasn't right. Jason glanced at Nate. The black veins were gone, but he still looked off. His skin was too pale, his eyes unfocused. Jason swallowed hard. You sure you're okay? Nate hesitated. Then finally, he muttered, I don't know. Jason's chest tightened. Samantha spoke without looking up. What now? Carter didn't slow his pace. We get to the road. Get the hell out of here. Jason exhaled. That sounded good, if they could actually make it. But as they walked, his gut twisted. The trees looked the same. The path felt wrong. Then, Nate stopped. His whole body tensed. Jason turned to him. What is it? Nate's voice was hollow. We've been here before. Jason's stomach dropped. Samantha's breath hitched. What? Nate pointed ahead. Jason followed his gaze, and his blood turned to ice. There, half buried in the dirt, was their burned-out fire pit, the place where they had just killed the skinwalker. Jason's pulse pounded. They had been walking for over an hour, and somehow they had gone in a circle. Samantha stumbled back. No, that's not. Carter cursed under his breath. It's not over. Jason's breath came fast. His hands shook. We burned it. We destroyed its body. A gust of wind blew through the trees. And then a whisper. Soft, familiar, wrong. Did you? Jason's chest tightened. The fire had burned the skinwalker, but something was still here. Something that wasn't letting them leave. Jason's breath hitched. The whisper had come from nowhere and everywhere. Samantha clutched his arm, her fingers ice cold. Tell me you heard that. Jason swallowed hard. Yeah. Carter exhaled sharply, gripping his shotgun. We need to keep moving. Jason's pulse pounded. Moving where? We just went in a damn circle. Carter's jaw tightened. That's not an accident. Jason didn't need to be told twice. Something was keeping them here. Something was still watching. Samantha turned in a slow circle, scanning the trees. I don't get it. We burned a body. Carter nodded. That body, yeah. Jason's stomach twisted. What are you saying? Carter's expression darkened. I think we burned the wrong one. The words hit Jason like ice water. Patil, that wasn't possible. It had screamed. It had died. Hadn't it? The trees rustled. A low wind stirred the ashes near the fire pit. Jason felt it before he saw it. The presence. Samantha grabbed his wrist. Look! Jason turned, and his blood ran cold. A figure stood just beyond the tree line, not shifting, not flickering, fully formed, solid, and wearing Nate's face. Nate stiffened beside him, his breath ragged. No, he whispered. The thing smiled. Jason's stomach twisted. They hadn't killed it. It was still here. And now it had a new face. Jason's stomach twisted. The thing standing in the trees had Nate's face, perfectly copied. The real Nate staggered back, his breathing ragged. No, that's not. The copy tilted its head, grinning. Jason's pulse pounded. We burned you. The thing laughed, low, hollow, wrong. Then, in Nate's own voice, it whispered, You burned something. Jason's blood ran cold. Samantha gripped his arm. Jason, what if Carter's right? Jason swallowed. If they had burned the wrong body, then the real skinwalker had never died. Carter chambered around in his shotgun. We don't have time for this. He raised the barrel, aimed straight at the thing's head. Boom! The shot ripped through its chest. It didn't fall. It didn't even flinch. Jason's breath caught in his throat. It was stronger now, smarter. The thing stepped forward. No hesitation, no pain. Carter cursed. Run! Jason didn't argue. He grabbed Nate and bolted. Samantha was right behind them. Carter fired again. Boom, boom. Still, the thing kept coming. Faster. Jason's legs burned as they tore through the trees. Branches whipped at his face. The air was thick, suffocating. And then Nate's body jerked violently. Jason turned, eyes widening. Nate? Nate gasped. Then suddenly went limp. Jason barely caught him before he hit the ground. "Nate, what's wrong?" Nate's body twitched, seized. His eyes rolled back. Then he laughed. Not Nate's laugh. The skinwalker's. Jason's stomach plummeted. "No." Carter yanked Jason back, his voice sharp. It took him. Jason's breath came in short, ragged gasps. The skinwalker wasn't wearing Nate's face anymore. It was inside him. Jason's breath came fast and shallow. Nate wasn't moving. His body twitched, his chest rising and falling in unnatural jolts. Then his lips curled into a slow, twisted smile. Samantha choked on a breath. "Number. No, no, no." Carter grabbed Jason's arm, pulling him back. "It's inside him." Jason's stomach plummeted. "How?" Carter's jaw clenched. "We didn't kill the real body. It was never gone." Jason's pulse pounded. They had been tricked. Again. Then Nate's eyes snapped open. Black, empty, not human. He sat up in one unnatural motion, his head tilting too far to the side. "Jason!" His voice came out, distorted, layered, like more than one voice was speaking at once. Jason swallowed hard. "Nate?" The thing laughed. Then, still using Nate's voice, it whispered, "Not anymore." Jason's hands shook. This wasn't like before. The skinwalker wasn't just copying Nate's face. It had taken him completely. Samantha stepped forward. "Nate, if you're in there, fight it." Silence. Then a slow smile stretched across his face. "Why would I fight myself?" Jason's chest tightened. That wasn't Nate talking. Carter didn't hesitate. He raised his shotgun. Boom! The shot slammed into Nate's shoulder. He didn't even flinch. He just laughed. Jason felt sick. Shooting wouldn't work anymore. Samantha grabbed Jason's wrist. "What do we do?" Carter's voice was grim. "We end this the right way." Jason knew what he meant. Find a real body, burn it. But how much time did they have? How long before they lost Nate forever? Nate, or whatever was inside him, grinned. Too late. Then he moved. Too fast. And Jason realized they might not survive this time. Nate lunged. Jason barely had time to react before a hand, too strong, too fast, wrapped around his throat. He gasped, struggling, but Nate wasn't Nate anymore. His grip was inhumanly tight. His black, empty eyes stared straight through Jason. Samantha screamed. Carter fired. Boom! The shotgun blast tore into Nate's side. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he turned his head slowly, unnaturally, toward Carter and smiled. Jason's lungs burned, his vision blurred. He couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Then, Samantha swung. The torch slammed into Nate's arm, fire licking at his skin. This time, he let go. Jason collapsed, coughing, as Nate staggered back, shaking violently. His veins pulsed. His skin rippled like something was fighting inside him. Jason gasped for air. "It's hurting him." Carter didn't hesitate. "We need to move." Now. Jason grabbed Samantha's hand and they ran. Carter fired another shot over his shoulder. Boom! Jason didn't look back. He couldn't. Branches tore at his face. His lungs burned. The trees blurred together. They needed a plan. A real one. Jason turned to Carter. Tell me you know where its real body is." Carter's expression was grim. "I have a damn good guess." Jason's pulse pounded. They had one last shot at this, one chance to end it, and if they were wrong, they were all dead. Jason's legs burned as he ran, his lungs tight, his mind racing. Nate wasn't Nate anymore. The skinwalker had taken him, and now it was hunting them. Carter led the way, gripping his shotgun, his pace relentless. Samantha stayed close, her breath ragged. Jason pushed forward, refusing to slow down. They had one shot at this, one last chance to find the real body and burn it before the skinwalker killed them all. Jason's voice came out hoarse. "Where are we going?" Carter didn't look back. "Old burial grounds?" Jason's stomach twisted. "That's where the real body is?" Carter nodded. "If I'm right, yeah. Skinwalkers don't just die, they're buried, bound to a place." Jason clenched his fists. They should have known. The first body they burned, it had been a trick, a decoy. And now, Nate was paying the price. Then, a sound. Fast, heavy, getting closer. Jason's pulse pounded. Samantha gasped. "It's coming!" They ran faster. The trees blurred past. The ground sloped downward. And then, Carter skidded to a stop. Jason nearly slammed into him. Why? Then he saw it. A clearing. The ground was uneven, disturbed. Gravestones, old, broken, half buried in the dirt. Jason's breath hitched. "This is it?" Carter nodded. "This is it." Samantha's hands trembled as she grabbed the lighter fluid. "Where do we dig?" Then the air shifted. Jason's blood ran cold. They weren't alone. A low, distorted chuckle echoed from the trees. Nate's voice. But wrong, twisted. The skinwalker had found them. Jason's stomach dropped. They were out of time. Jason's breath came fast and shallow. The burial site was right in front of them. The real body was here, but so was the skinwalker. A low chuckle echoed through the trees. Nate's voice, but wrong, twisted. Samantha clutched Jason's arm. Carter raised his shotgun. "No time. Start digging." Jason didn't argue. He grabbed a broken branch and hacked at the dirt. Samantha did the same, her hands trembling. Carter stood guard, his gun trained on the shadows. They had to be fast. If they found a real body, they could end this. Then the footsteps came. Heavy, slow, deliberate. Jason's stomach knotted. The thing wearing Nate's body stepped into the clearing. It didn't rush them. It just stood there, smiling, watching, like it knew they were too late. Carter fired. Boom! Salt shot tore through Nate's chest. He didn't even blink. Samantha choked back a sob. "It's not working," Carter cursed. "Dig faster." Jason's hands were raw, his arms screaming with pain, but he didn't stop. Then, his fingers scraped something. Wood. Jason's pulse spiked. A coffin. "I found it!" The skinwalker moved. Fast. 1 second, it was across the clearing. The next, it was inches away. Jason barely had time to react before it lunged. Hands wrapped around his throat, lifting him off the ground. Jason gasped. Its strength was inhuman. The skinwalker's face twisted into a mockery of a grin. Too late. Jason's vision blurred. This was it. They had failed. Then Carter roared. swung his machete and severed the skinwalker's arm at the elbow. Jason dropped to the ground, gasping for air. The skinwalker screamed, not in pain, in rage. Carter grabbed the lighter fluid and dumped it over the coffin. Samantha flicked the lighter. The flames ignited. Jason watched as the coffin burned. The skinwalker let out a sound that wasn't human, wasn't anything of this world. Then it convulsed, twitched, fell to its knees. Its stolen face melted, warped. Jason forced himself to stand. It was dying, for real this time. Then it locked eyes with him. Its lips curled into a final grotesque grin, and in Nate's voice it whispered, "Are you sure?" Then the fire swallowed it whole, and the skinwalker was gone. Jason's legs nearly gave out. The fire roared, consuming the coffin, the body, and everything inside it. The skinwalker was gone. The air was thick with smoke and burning rot. Jason could barely breathe. It was over. It had to be. Samantha clung to him, shaking. Carter stood still, watching the flame, shotgun loose in his grip. Jason swallowed hard, forcing himself to look at the fire. No tricks, no illusions. This time, it was real. The flames burned too hot, too final. There was nothing left to come back. Then, a weak groan. Jason spun. Nate. He was on the ground, his body trembling, his breath ragged. Jason fell to his knees beside him. Nate? Nate's eyes fluttered open. Normal. No black veins, no wrongness. Just Nate. Jason's chest tightened. "Are you?" Nate exhaled shakily. "It's gone." Jason didn't realize how hard he was shaking until Samantha's hand landed on his shoulder. He looked up at her, then at Carter. No one spoke. Because for the first time since this nightmare started, the forest was silent. No whispers, no laughter, no shadows lurking between the trees, just silence. Jason let out a shaky breath. They had won. But deep down, in the pit of his stomach, he couldn't shake the feeling. Something still felt off. The fire had died down, leaving only ashes and silence. Jason stared at the burned remains of the coffin, his heart still racing. It was over. It had to be. The skinwalker was gone. Samantha knelt beside Nate, gripping his hand. "You're okay," she whispered, as if saying it would make it true. Nate gave a weak nod, his breath still unsteady. Jason swallowed hard. It felt too easy, too simple. Carter stood over the ashes, shotgun still in his grip. He didn't look relieved. He looked tired. "We need to leave," he muttered. "Now." Jason didn't argue. They had spent too long in this cursed forest. He helped Nate to his feet, supporting his weight. Samantha stayed close, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting something to come crawling out of the shadows. But nothing did. No whispers, no laughter, no wrongness in the air. They walked. This time, the forest let them go. The trees no longer stretched endlessly. The trail led exactly where it was supposed to. Back to the road, back to Jason's wrecked Jeep, back to the world they had almost lost. For the first time in days, Jason breathed freely. Carter stopped at the edge of the trees. Jason turned to him. "You coming with us?" Carter shook his head. "Not my fight anymore." Jason frowned. Then what now? Carter exhaled, adjusting his shotgun strap. There's always another one. His voice was heavy, like he'd done this 100 times before. Maybe he had. He gave Jason a long look. You ever need answers, you'll find me. Then, without another word, he walked back into the trees. Jason watched him go, an uneasy weight settling in his chest. Samantha nudged him. Let's go home. Jason hesitated just for a second, then finally he nodded. It was over. For now. Because Carter was right. There was always another one. And deep down, Jason knew this wasn't the last time he'd hear the hunter's call.